It's wonderful to meet you. Thank you so much for taking a minute out today.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks for having me. It's
Yeah,
great. Yeah.
absolutely. No, it's an honor. I want to begin our journey with something that I always start with because it was
Mm-hmm.
such a big flashpoint in our lives, and that's COVID. It changed the course, put a
Good.
big mirror in front of our faces. How did you get through that COVID era, and how has it changed the way that you work and live today?
Well, Joe, I'm an introvert. So I do speaking gigs and I do big workshops and stuff, and I love that. And I'm an introvert. So COVID was kind of nice and quiet from my point of view, right? The world got quiet. There weren't as many planes in the air. There weren't as much there wasn't as much traffic. And that meant that it was kind of nice. Yeah, there were good
Yeah,
things about it, but it changed my work.
yeah,
I had vulnerable people in my life, so um I had to work online.
yeah,
When I gave up my face-to-face office, I was devastated. It was really, really sad.
yeah.
And I learned about online. I remember having a client who looked at me and said, if I was seeing you in person, I couldn't look at you. And I was really touched by that. And
Yeah,
it highlighted the fact that we all work different and some of us need that space,
yeah,
that's not interrupted, but also not as close.
yeah,
Like I see people on the phone now.
yeah,
There's a couple of clients I've seen for years, and I did see them in person in the UK, but they like seeing me on the phone, and we get a lot done on the phone. So it just highlighted to me that there's many different ways of working,
yeah,
and we need to respect the distance that we need. We're super sensitive creatures. We
yeah, we are.
need space. We need um respect for we need to respect our way. Like I need to respect I'm an introvert. I need that downtime.
It's interesting too when you talk about this virtual world. It had been around before, but it was like we finally were kind of forced to accept it because,
We're forced into it.
yeah, but I think it's a good thing, especially with telehealth, I
Yeah.
mean, loading up, getting ready, gassing up the car, driving however long, waiting. And that's the thing that's been beautiful about telehealth is that it's usually punctual. Like if you go to an office, you're waiting between 10 to 30 to 40 minutes, and with telehealth, it's pretty quick. You're on there and
Mm,
you get to the point, you're
mm,
off. So there's been some
mhm.
good offshoots. I think we finally graduated to the 21st century with technology because of the pandemic. It
I
took
think
that.
that's fair. I think
Yeah.
that's fair. Yeah.
So let's get into the good work that you're doing. And I want to do it this way. Kids have a way of getting the truth out of us. I'm going to put you
Mhm,
at career day to school. There's 12 or 13-year-old kids, and
mhm.
one of the kids in the back of the room wants to know what you do for a living. How do you explain your day job to them?
I do magic with emotion. I help people connect with how they feel, but not in a way that brings them down or devastates them, but allows them to recognize it, and so it becomes their superpower.
So I'm curious, how does this happen? As adults, do we bury? Is it like sediment? Is it almost like all these layers of things that get buried and we just get lost and all of the adulting?
Well, you also get lost because you have a 5-year-old Joe who says, "This is how it's going to happen because I'm scared, Joe." Right? And so
Yeah,
you don't get to step into the things that you want to step into because you've got this little kid who's going, no, we're going to base this on our core beliefs, which are based pre-6, and we're not doing that because it's scary,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So we make decisions based on really, really old beliefs.
Yep,
So
certainly.
connecting with those young parts is really vital.
Yeah. That it's that wonder that we lose. Like there's a
Yeah.
poet, Bukowski said, "We're born geniuses and buried idiots." It's
Yeah.
like we
Yeah.
spend our lives putting up fences and
Yeah.
false pretenses when we should just really be like a child.
Yeah. And I would say that it's like we're connected to light. We're connected to the magic of the universe, and everything kind of has an energy or a light. And as a small child, we're kind of connected to that. And through these core beliefs or whatever, these traumas, let's say, that happen, we become blocked. And then we get sensible and adult and you know, limit our options. We don't allow ourselves to expand and kind of grow into, I'm not saying never, but we have a tendency to shut it down. And actually, the expansion and like growing our hearts bigger, opening more, extending more, making our impact more, trusting the path that we have is all really important.
Yeah,
Getting small isn't great. We all, like in this world at the moment, I think we all need our empowerment so that we can navigate it because
yeah.
it's scary for some of us.
It's heavy. Yeah.
Yeah, for
What do you,
LGBT people, for marginalized people,
100%?
it's pretty heavy right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think about all of the progress that we made for a little while, particularly in
Yeah.
America, and
Yeah.
how all of it has been rescinded and
The
is
same in the UK.
okay.
Same, exactly the
That's
same.
what I've heard.
I mean, my sense is there's kind of a dual contraction and expansion going on. Like there's people getting really fearful and really scared and really, mean, and there's people expanding and changing and consciousness is changing. Kind of both things are happening.
Yeah, they certainly are. Yeah, I see it. I totally
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah.
So, when you were 12 or 13 years old, what was your dream gig? What did you want to be when you grew up?
When I was 12 and 13, I was in the cult that I was raised in, and I was separated from my parents because they were in Zambia and I was in Chicago, and I was in something called Student House, which was like group dorms for all the kids at that age. Um, and my friends reflected to me, "Ah, you should be a shrink." Because I could talk them into a particular thing or another thing. I noticed I could talk them into whatever. But I also listened really well. So they thought I should be a shrink. But I remember sketching out something, and it was actually I was a vet in my dream, and I had lots and lots of horses. That's about as far as it went.
Yeah. Well, how did you acquire this strength being in that cult environment? How did you acquire all of these seeds that have sprouted into you, helping people find their true essence? What was it that made you strong to survive and find your meaning?
I think I needed the help. And I don't really know if I have the answer to that because I fully believe we all do the best we can with what
Yeah,
we have. Um, and yeah, so I don't know what gave me that, but there were different things that happened in my life. So, a friend went to a psychotherapy training and I ended up going to their introduction and then I ended up doing that training. Um, so yeah, that really helped me.
So
Uh,
how did you survive that world that you were in? What
mm,
was I mean,
I don't know. I mean, but you could say that to anyone about a childhood. How did you survive that? You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
I think, well, frankly, I survived the way many of us survive, which is that I fragmented and dissociated and then had extreme emotions. So I thought my character was, um, I'm a bit spacey and then I'm really emotional. That was just who I am.
yeah,
And those are trauma responses, and most people don't recognize that.
yeah, yeah. I've read stories about, and it's not the same thing, but it's a little bit psychologically the same. Like people that were in the Holocaust, the only way that they survived is that they dreamed of the calendar going into Christmas and what could potentially happen for that Christmas. There's
Mhm.
these thoughts, there's these dreams, there's these things
Mhm.
that you put in your
Mhm.
periphery, almost
Yeah.
manifest destiny, that allows you to stay sane and grounded in a complete environment that's unhinged,
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
that kind of a
Well, I
thing.
had a grandma who lived in California, and I would visit her sometimes, and that really helped.
Yeah. Yeah.
My parents were very present when they were around. It wasn't very often that they were around, but when they were, I found them pretty solid. So that helped because they can kind of guide you, even though you don't know where they are. They're on the other side of the planet. You still have this sense of solidity somehow.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who has been that inspirational force, that hero in your life that's allowed you to navigate all of these waters to today and to know your place?
Wow. I don't think there's just one. I don't think there's just one. I think it's many teachers and many therapists, and ultimately coming home to myself and being able to trust my inner world, right? So, like, we have inner worlds, and can be very mysterious, and we don't know why we feel that way and whatever. And what I mastered through, a difficult life was to be able to really hear it and reassure it and kind of say, hey, I'm listening. It's okay. We're okay. What do you need? And then try to give my inner world what it needed. Like, oh, I'm scared of this or I'm scared of that. And I'm like, well, I'm taking care of that. And that's an adult thing. And I'll take care of that because I'm the adult. And you can chill and wait and I'll, make sure it's taken care of. And then it's like all the young parts that often run our lives just kind of calm down and go, oh, okay, that's great.
Yeah.
I'll go play now.
Yeah. Yeah. So when did you realize that coaching was the path for you? Was it a client? Was it an epiphany? What was the real moment that you knew that you had picked the right calling?
I think it was when I went to that first psychotherapy training,
Yeah.
the introduction, and it was a combination of feeling at home there and feeling seen. Like I saw that I felt so much more at peace by doing that work. Whereas beforehand, I didn't know there was a problem,
Yeah.
right? I'm just spacey and emotional. Lots of us are like that.
Yeah.
That's true. Lots
Yeah.
of us are like that.
Yeah. So if you can meet one person alive on the planet that's gone through some things and they've become an inspirational figure, just someone that fascinates you, is there anyone that you would love to meet and talk to, sit down with, that might help you on your journey?
It's funny. The first person that comes to mind is Oprah.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear about her life and her experience. And I don't know if it's so much for me in order to rise to where she is, but just, yeah, I would be inspired to hear her story from her point of view.
Yeah. So I want to kind of get a handle on the geography of your timeline. Where were you
Okay.
born and raised?
Okay. Joe, come on. So you got to sit down for this one. So I was born in Stockton, California,
Okay.
and at 11 months, my parents joined this cult in Chicago. And then we moved all over the place. So we lived in Atlanta when I was, I think maybe two and three. And then we were back in Chicago. Yeah, I think so. Four and five on the west side of Chicago. And then on the north side of Chicago, no, I was separated from my family when I was five on the north side of Chicago. And then they moved to the north side and yeah, and I was there for a couple of years. And then we moved to San Antonio for about 3 years. That was the longest we've ever been in one. We were ever in one spot. And just San Antonio. Zambia. They moved to Zambia, and I stayed in San Antonio for a year, longer than they did. And then I was in Zambia for a year, and then I was in Chicago in student house when I was 12 and 13.
Yeah.
And then when I was 14, I was in Brazil in a project with, the people in the organization. Yeah. And I mean, I could go on, but
Yeah.
uh,
Well, I'm just curious,
yeah.
coming from the United States and even going to the UK and going from one country, did they all kind of blur? Did you feel a level of comfort more in one spot on the planet than the other?
Um, well, because of the dissociation, there's a bit of a blur to
Yeah,
it in the younger years, and then it gets clearer later on. Um, yeah. Yeah, so that you don't really know where you feel at home because you've never had home.
sure, sure. So what?
Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, I get that. That makes sense. So I'm curious, right now, today, what gets you up every day to do this work that you do, to get into people's lives, to change lives? You have a soul that you need to take care of. What is that collective energy for you to make this impact and to take care of your own soul?
It actually feels interconnected.
Yeah,
You know that idea of we get free together?
yeah,
It feels like this is my path and it's interconnected, like my freedom's interconnected with yours, right? So I want all of us to be free and empowered so that we stop hurting each other.
yeah.
I'm tired of that. It's so it's so wrong and upsetting, and I don't I don't want to feed that world. So yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, and I wrestle with the template of what humanity has historically done. And
yeah,
it's sad because there's so much potential and there's such a way that we can get out of it and stop all this hurt. Do
yeah.
you Are you hopeful that in our lifetime we're going to get to a more civil place, or do you think it's just going to be incremental, like a raindrop on a pond, and it's just going to have to add up?
I think it continues to get better and it
Yeah,
continues to get worse.
yeah, yeah.
So
Good way of putting it. It's true.
I think, I mean, I do a lot of practices. I do a lot of things to keep my clarity. When I started using energy tools, which are, kind of tools that connect with the body and use the meridians, the points on the body, or use the chakras or whatever, that calm the system down quite quickly because you're connecting with the system. Um, Things changed, but I also realized that I needed to be very clear. I couldn't, it's like you realize that as a therapist that you need to be quite grounded, quite clear, whatever. But energy therapy was a whole nother level.
Yeah,
And so, I do my meditation, I do my energy clearing, I do the different things that I need to do to be really present and clear so that I'm not spreading that trauma. Because I think it doesn't take a lot of a lack of alignment for people to be unable to hold it or to harm each other with that energy. And we can talk about the heart all we want, but the heart can be really um, damaged or fragmented, or it can be lots of things. So an open heart, I would argue, also needs boundaries. There's
yeah,
a practice I teach around kind of keeping your field quite boundaried. And I always say that you need 100% boundaries. I don't care how much you love them, right? And that's a concept that people don't really think about. But
yeah,
actually, if you think about your children, you get it, right? Because you need great boundaries with them.
yeah,
It's the same with anyone else. Because because you need to be clear about your in your communication. You need to be clear about what your needs are.
Yeah.
And that's like that kind of stuff is the foundation of being here.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't pay attention to that,
No.
but it's really important.
Yeah, it certainly is. So let me ask you this. If you had a dream tonight, ran into 16, 18-year-old version of you, and you walked into a room, there was a film projector, and you click play, and a 60-second highlight reel of this life you've lived, the choices you've made, what you've become. Would that
Mm,
young version of you even believe that this is your life?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I
Would
don't
you
think so.
would you have any advice?
Uh, do the meditation and the yoga that you're drawn to and skip the drugs.
Well said.
Doesn't matter who's doing them, doesn't matter if you like them or not, doesn't matter if you like the people, just don't do them.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it.
Any
What,
of them.
yeah, right. Totally. So what
Yeah.
is the highlight and that 60-second highlight? What are you the proudest of? What are you the happiest about?
Ooh. It's interesting because actually it's about being present because everything else comes from that.
Hmm.
I can hold the things, I can love the people, I can see the vibrancy of the world, the beauty of this world. I can enjoy being here. I can't do that unless I'm present.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does it mean when you see the big word retirement flash up in your mind?
It doesn't have any meaning for me, Joe.
Yeah.
I don't have a plan. I don't have a desire. Like I'm just getting started. And
Yeah.
I yeah, I think I think I'll always be doing this work.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean I'll always be working, um but the work will always call me, I think.
Yeah.
It's very compelling and very heart-centered for me.
So at this point on your journey in life, everyone has a perception of you. Family, friends, clients, everyone that knows you, but you're the driving force, what we see. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Um, I think I think I'm a person on a journey who wants my own healing and liberation and then wants that for everyone else
I
in
like
a
it.
nutshell.
Yeah.
So I try to give people the tools that they need to create that for themselves when they're not in the room with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's been one of the best client feedbacks, letters, responses, something that was magical that happened?
There's so many. There's so many. But the one that comes to mind is um, a woman I saw for many years, and then she finally came to a circle. And she was the one I mentioned earlier who struggled to look at me, or wouldn't be able to look at me if we hadn't been online.
Yeah.
Um, and she's living her best life now. She's you know doing her art, living in community. She's free and happy, and that's the best feedback I could have.
Yeah.
I'd still love to see her. I always miss my clients, but I'm glad that she's free.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how to say it any
Yeah,
other
no,
way.
yeah, no, I get it.
You
I
know,
totally get it.
yeah.
So I want to tap into your wander and wonder and leave on a really high note here. I'm gonna have you get into a time machine and you can go back in the history of human time and see one event with your own eyes. What would you love to have seen unfold?
Mm. Um, it's interesting to note what comes to mind.
Yeah.
I'd actually love to be like part of a ceremony in Africa somewhere. Africa's a big place, but I'm not sure exactly where.
Yeah.
And it would be like a shamanistic healing circle or something in the community. There's something that I sometimes put out on social, which is we medicate what communities would have built a fire around. And
Wow.
I
Deep.
just think that's really true. We
Yeah.
do. We
Yeah. Yeah.
medicate our healers sometimes. Um, and we medicate the veils between worlds. Like we pathologize um psychics or people who have other senses.
Yeah.
And yeah, yeah, I think I
That's
think
good.
I would love to be there.
Yeah. I
So
love that.
that tells me something about the next thing I might study.
Yeah. I love it. The next step.
Yeah.
So, if anybody is ready to reach out, they have questions, they want to hire you, any of the good business, where do they go?
Lou at loulachman.com.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, for speaking, for circles. I do a little bit of individual. Um, yeah, speaking circles. Yeah,
Lou,
that's where you'll
thank
find.
Yeah, I will put that in the show notes, make it easy for everyone. Lou, what a joy. Thank you so much for taking a
Yeah,
minute out today. Great to
yeah,
meet
a
you.
joy.
Yeah.
A joy. It's so good to talk to you, Joe.
Yeah.
And I'd love to do this again sometime. It's just been so fun.
I love it. Yeah, let's do it. Let's